This team needed to score a goal, so they turned around and scored it into their own net. On purpose. And it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a bribe. It was the smartest thing they could have done. Because of one insane rule. This single own goal was about to create the most confusing 3 minutes in the history of football. A game where one team was defending both goals at once, and the other team was attacking both. Where nobody in the stadium, not even the players, fully understood what they were watching. This is the story of Barbados versus Grenada. And to understand it, you have to go back to January 1994. In the early 1990s, football had a problem. Fans thought too many matches were ending in boring draws. So FIFA started experimenting. They wanted to reward attacking, winning football. And all around the world, they began testing strange new rules to see what worked. One of those experiments was the golden goal. The idea was simple. If a match went to extra time, the first team to score would win instantly. Sudden death. Dramatic. Exciting. But one small tournament decided to take that idea and push it to the absolute extreme. The Caribbean Cup, a regional competition between the island nations of the Caribbean. And the organizers made one small change to the golden goal rule. A change that sounded harmless, but would end up breaking everything. In this tournament, a golden goal in extra time didn't count as one goal. It counted as two. Just remember that. Because everything that's about to happen comes back to that one rule. Here was the situation. It was the final group game. Barbados had to beat Grenada by at least 2 goals to qualify. A 1-goal win wasn't enough. The match kicks off, and everything goes perfectly. Barbados score once, then twice. 2-0. They're exactly where they need to be. But in the 83rd minute, Grenada pull one back. 2-1. Suddenly, Barbados are heading out. They throw everyone forward, desperately searching for one more goal. Grenada are defending for their lives, packing men behind the ball, wasting time. 84 minutes. 85. 86. And that third goal just will not come. So, with about 3 minutes left on the clock, Barbados stopped. And they did something no football team had ever done on purpose. 2 defenders, Terry Seeley and his goalkeeper, calmly passed the ball to each other near their own goal. And then Seeley turned and deliberately smashed it into his own net. 2-2. The crowd went silent. Confused. To everyone watching, it looked insane. Why would a team, needing to win, deliberately score for the other side? But it wasn't madness. It was mathematics. If the game finished 2-1, Barbados were out. But if the game finished 2-2, it would go to extra time. And in extra time, remember, a golden goal was worth 2 goals. So if Barbados could just score first in extra time, they wouldn't win by 1. They'd win by 2. And they'd qualify. The own goal wasn't a blunder. It was a shortcut. Barbados had done the maths and realized that scoring against themselves gave them a better chance of winning than attacking normally. But here's where this story goes from clever to complete chaos. Because Grenada were not stupid. Their players quickly worked out what Barbados were doing. And then they realized something. They had their own loophole. Grenada now had 2 ways to qualify. Option 1. Score in Barbados's goal, win 3-2, and go through. But option 2. They could score in their own net. Yes, if Grenada scored an own goal, they'd lose the match 3-2, but they'd only be losing by 1. And a 1-goal margin was enough to send Grenada to the finals on goal difference. For Grenada, any goal, in either net, sent them through. And for Barbados, it meant they now had to defend both goals. Their own goal and Grenada's goal. At the same time, what followed were the most surreal 3 minutes football has ever seen. Grenada's players would charge at the Barbados goal. Barbados would defend it. So Grenada would suddenly spin around and sprint toward their own goal, trying to kick it in. And Barbados players would chase them back, throwing themselves in front of the Grenadian net to protect it. A goal they were technically supposed to be attacking. You had attackers defending, defenders attacking, players kicking the ball toward their own nets, opponents blocking shots into goals they wanted scored. The Barbados goalkeeper guarding one end while his teammates guarded the other, 100 yards away. Nobody in the stands knew who was winning. The players were exhausted and confused. It looked less like a football match and more like a playground game where everyone had forgotten the rules. But somehow, it was all completely logical. Every single player was doing exactly the right thing. And Barbados held on. For 3 impossible minutes, they defended both goals successfully. The whistle blew for the end of normal time. 2-2, just like they'd planned. Extra time. And now, finally, the rule they had bent the entire game for delivered. For minutes into extra time, a Barbados player named Trevor Thorne struck the golden goal, worth double. Final score, 4-2. Barbados had qualified for the finals. But not everyone was celebrating. Grenada's manager, James Clarkson, was absolutely furious. And his post-match words became almost as famous as the game itself. He said, "I feel cheated. The person who came up with these rules must be a candidate for a madhouse. Our players did not even know which direction to attack. I have never seen this happen before. In football, you are supposed to score against the opponents to win, not for them." And honestly, he had a point. The match was a farce. It made a mockery of the sport. But here's the crucial thing. Barbados had not broken a single rule. They hadn't cheated. They hadn't bribed anyone. They had simply read the rulebook more carefully than the people who wrote it, and then used it perfectly. FIFA investigated the match, and they cleared Barbados of any wrongdoing. Because, in their words, the team had simply been playing optimally under the circumstances. The organizers, though, had seen enough. That double-value golden goal rule was quietly scrapped and never used again. Because Barbados had exposed a simple truth. If you write a stupid rule, sooner or later, someone will be clever enough to break it, without breaking it at all. Barbados went on to the finals, though they didn't get far, finishing third in their group as Trinidad and Tobago won the whole thing. But that one qualifying match, on a small Caribbean island, became a legend. The only football match where one team attacked both goals, while the other defended both. The strangest, most confusing, and yet most perfectly logical game football has ever produced. All because of one badly written rule and one team smart enough to see it. And trust me, this wasn't football's only insane rule loophole. Subscribe, because the next one's even harder to believe.